Good morning. My name is Paul Dalzell, and I am the worship coordinator of the Unitarian Universalist congregation. Welcome all of you, our members, our friends, and if this is your first time here, we welcome you and thank you for joining us today. If you are new to UUC, I sincerely hope you will find us to be an open, accepting congregation. We are the place, as a wise man once told me, if you don't feel you fit in anywhere else, you belong here. We come together as a community to do good and to be better. To do good, a part of our belief system is that collective social justice work is crucial to who we are as a religious people. To be better, to develop ourselves, to be better humans, kinder, gentler, and more open. As the Zen Buddhists say, each of you is perfect just the way you are, and you can use a little improvement. Unitarian Universalism is non-creedal, deliberately pluralist, and unambiguously and unapologetically progressive. What you believe in matters less than what you do in this faith. We find inspiration and wisdom from wherever we can find it, from pantheists to paganism to prine. Please know that we welcome you, whoever you are.
We welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you love, we welcome you.
'Tis the season for a lot going on here and in the area. So settle in. We have quite a few announcements to come. Let's begin by taking a moment to thank all the volunteers and staff who work to make Sundays happen. Thanks to our music coordinator, Jamie Edwards, and the UUC music makers for the work they do to bring us joy. And as always, a big thank you to our congregational administrator, Sarah Stone, for her patience and talent in organizing these facilities, keeping us informed, and keeping this community of caring counterculture congregants operating. We are excited about our upcoming Christmas Eve service, which this year will be led by our contract minister, Reverend Don Rollins. We traditionally have cookies and hot cocoa after the service. If you would, please bring some cookies or treats to share. Also, the collection that we collect on Christmas Eve goes straight to the minister's discretionary fund. That is a fund that we can use to help our members and our neighbors in times of need throughout the year. And once again, it is time to ask you to donate to the staff holiday gift. This can be done online, in the plate, or through the U.S. mail. Just please note for staff holiday gift on it, however you give. UUC does not give our staff a year-end bonus as some businesses do. We rely on you, the members, to say thank you for all the work you do during the holiday season to the 7 staff members. Today's service is being live streamed on Zoom. It will then be available for viewing shortly after it ends on YouTube because we are changing some things in the way we broadcast our services. Beginning with this service, we will go back to the Zoom platform for live streams, and then we will edit our services to eliminate dead air and other problems before we post it on YouTube. They will not be edited for content. We, the tech team, Reverend Don and myself feel that this will fix many of the problems we have experienced with our current method of sharing our worship services with you and the public. We have some other improvements on the way that have yet to be determined, so stay tuned. Please rest assured that we are doing all we can to bring you and our viewers at home a high-quality worship service. Today, the Roots and Shoots Religious Exploration Group will continue to exploring our UU shared value of interdependence with more about how fungi are connected to almost everything. This Thursday, December 19th, Spiral Moongrove will learn about home remedies to help us during the cold and flu season. The class leader, Jody, has much knowledge of home remedies to share with the group, and if you come, please bring and share any home remedies you may have. They will also finalize plans for the Yule ritual and the overnight stay. Also, there are still tickets available for Unity's 9th annual Winter Solstice concert this Thursday at 7 p.m. up on the hill at Unity. It will feature an all-star lineup of West Virginia musicians, including Ron Soul, Colleen Anderson, Mark Davis, Lady D, Myra Costa, Bare Bones, Jeff Hott, Steve Hill, Dan Bailey, Mark Atkinson, Micah Forsey, and Alicia Alquida. The proceeds will be split between SOAR and the Covenant House. On Friday, December 20th at 6:30, Timothy Sayer with the West Virginia Extension Office will join Kaleidoscope Collective in providing important suicide prevention training. It is open to all. On Saturday, the 21st at 7 p.m., Spiral Moongrove will have their Yule ritual, followed by a potluck feast. Please bring a dish if you can to share. They will then stay the night here to welcome the sun after the longest night. You don't have to spend the night, but if you do, there will be movies, games, and some crafts to enjoy. Also, after the service, please make a paper chain for the holiday tree that we have. They started doing it the other day. All the materials are here. It should be fun. As Maria lights our chalice, I will read our chalice lighting words, A Light for Letting Go, written by Don Rollins. Now, as we come to this hour, this place, this flame, let it rise, symbol of our shared troubles. Let it rise, beacon of peace within and peace without. Let it rise, reminder that there is a path through troubles on our way to peace. It is a path called letting go. In this spirit do we gather. Now please rise in body, spirit, and voice as you are able for our hymn for gathering, number 17, Every Night and Every Morn.
This is a new hymn, so for the first verse, I'm just going to play the voice part so that you can learn the melody. Dawn chose this, not me. Every night and every morn, some in misery are born. Every morn and every night, some are born to sweet delight. Joy and woe are woven fine, clothing for the soul divine. Under every grief and pine, run
It is right, it should be so. We were made for joy and woe, and when this we rightly know, safely through the world we go.
And now, for our story for all ages, is a video read by Mary Bracy, Reverend Don's wife. It is titled Snow Angels.
Good morning. I'm Mary, Don's wife, and this morning I'd like to tell you a story about when my oldest daughter, who's now 30, was actually 4 years old. And it was about this time of year, and we lived in South Carolina, which didn't get a lot of snow. And I had this wonderful day planned because it was close to Christmas, and we were going to go see Santa at the mall, back when people still went to go see Santa at the mall. And we were going to go shopping, and we were going to do all this wonderful, fun stuff. And it started snowing, which was just like an unheard of event. And she got so excited. And I was like, no, come on, honey, we got to go. We got to leave. And I started getting really frustrated because all she wanted to do was go out and play in the snow. And I started getting more frustrated and more frustrated. And I'm sure any of you who are parents have been through this where you're just like, just come on, get in the car. We're going to go have fun. And then I looked at her and she just sat down in the middle of our sidewalk in the snow and started crying. And I felt horrible. And so I sat down beside her. And she said, Mommy, I just want to make snow angels. And I thought, all of those things I wanted to do, I was doing them for me, not really for her. And what she wanted was just to be in that moment. What she wanted was to make snow angels. So we laid back in the snow and we made snow angels, and we gathered up some of the snow and we made snow cream, and we threw snowballs, and it was wonderful. And I hold those memories in my heart a lot more than I would have all of the plans that I had made. And I'd like to say that I learned to always be present in the moment from that. But life happens. And sometimes I would get too hurried, and sometimes I would get too caught up in what had happened before or what was going to happen in the future. And I would forget about what was happening right then. And every once in a while, I would think back to that day when my little girl just wanted to make snow angels. And I want us to all remember to really cherish those moments that come spontaneously, to cherish those moments in the now, to cherish the people in the now. Thank you.
We come to this place of sanctuary, whether in person or virtually, to connect with the greater good, to do good and to be better. Part of that sharing what is of worth is sharing our joys, our celebrations, our sorrows, our concerns, our peace, our help, and our needs. I got a feeling I know who wrote this one. Happy to have Keith, Bruce, and Kate Beisner here today. And yes, we are. So the joy for taking action, for making a difference. Concerns? Rain, rain, go away. Also for all those who are homeless in this bitter winter weather, and for the hearts of those who condemn them and make their lives harder. Our introduction to the offering today is A Greater Good for Ourselves and Our World by our former minister, Kayla Parker. We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. May this be an offering to sustain and grow the life and mission of this congregation. May we give in love and in hope.
My favorite songwriters, Cy Khan. And the prayer sheet for I remember the year that my granddaddy died. Dug his grave on the mountainside, gonna rise again. I was too young to understand the way he felt about the land, but I could read his history in his hand, gonna rise again. There's corn in the crib, apples in the bin, gonna rise again. Cotton in the gin, gonna rise again. Cows in the barn and hogs in the plot, you know he never had a lot, but he worked like a mule for the little he got. Gonna rise again. Those apple trees on the mountainside, gonna rise again. He planted the seeds just before he died, gonna rise again. I guess he knew he'd never see the red fruit hanging from the tree. But he planted the seeds for his children and me, gonna rise again. I'm sitting on the ridge high above this farm, gonna rise again. Thinking of my people that have gone on, gonna rise again. Like a tree that grows in the mountain ground, the storms of life have cut 'em down. But the new wood springs from the roots underground, gonna rise again, gonna rise again, gonna rise again.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, Sam, Mike, and I think Jimi Hendrix chipped in there with a little feedback. So, please join me in reading our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Love is the spirit of our faith, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our meditation and response today is a meditation on setting free, recorded earlier by Reverend Don.
Hello, you friends across the Ohio River, and those of you joining us online. If we haven't met, my name is Don Rollins, and I serve the congregation as contract minister. Again, so glad to be with us. Part of the way we worship, not quite often as Unitarian Universalists, is to pause, take time, give our heads and our bodies some time off. Let's do that today. Today's meditation is inspired by the Eastern traditions. That's a wellspring that has helped shape our own tradition. So join me now in this quiet time. First, and if your body allows, try to get comfortable. Start with the crown of your head. Slowly travel down to your feet. And maybe for the first time in a long time, give your mind and your body some rest. Tell them silence is not a waste. It's an invitation to be quiet, to let go. Take your mind and your body off the treadmill that we call normal. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, maybe find some spot around you to give focus. Now notice your breath. Feel your chest. Another breath. Feel your chest. Now join me in a simple meditation about letting go. Keeping in mind that you're in a safe space, in the room, online. Call to mind a thing or a person or a place you need to release. You need to let go. Maybe you've been wrestling with this for far too long, or maybe it happened all at once. Maybe you have a plan in mind as you face the winds of change, or maybe you have no idea what to do. So silently name what is nagging at the edges of your soul. Start with a simple invitation. I need to let go of. And then sit with your answer. Hear what your heart and your mind and your spirit are saying right now. Just finish the thought, I need to let go of. Let's take some time together so you can do that. Breathe with me again. Feel the wind in your chest. Now know that the person beside you, the person behind you, they're on the same journey. They too are searching and wondering if the time has come for change. Only you can answer the question. Only you can fill in the blank. I need to let go of. And finally, extend compassion to yourself as you name and you face what lies before you. Change or no change, hesitation or readiness. There is no judgment when we pause to take stock of what needs releasing. There is only the love and the patience of the universe just waiting to help you, whatever you choose. Now breathe again and again. And say with me, Amen. Say it with me again. Amen.
One of the changes we have had to make, not necessarily one we wanted to, is to have Don's message recorded when he does the virtual services rather than live streamed straight to us. There have just been too many problems meshing the various platforms. So, once again, here is Reverend Don, recorded earlier.
Hello again to those of you in and beyond the sanctuary. If you're new to the congregation or our Unitarian Universalist Association, we hope that the warmth we offer you in this service will reflect the warmth that we have in our hearts for you. 3 things before I offer up some reflections on the Buddhist tradition. 1, thanks, deep thanks for the good tech staff for their ongoing commitment to improve your sound and your video in the sanctuary and online. It's a process that will no doubt need some more tweaking, but things are clearly headed in the right direction. More to come as we go along. 2nd, recording my sermons messages is the way to go, at least for now. And as the congregation anticipates a lay-led future, recording messages, sermons, will no doubt be a valuable resource. The obvious drawback is a lesser connection. I can't see your faces, I can't see your eyes, I can't laugh with you, I can't experience the energy that is you. But as we speak, I do have a photo of you pulled up over to my right, just so I keep an eye on you, so I get a chance to remember who you are and what it's like to be with you. So you're still here. I'm still there. Thirdly, what I've prepared is a long way from preaching, however defined. What it is a nonlinear, non-scholarly, Buddhist-inspired witness to what we can only call compassion. Compassion for ourselves, for one another, the animals that share this earth with us, and the groaning planet itself. So these reflections are not those of a practicing Buddhist. Truth be told, when it comes to that ancient, expansive tradition, I might as well be wearing sunglasses and a coal shaft. That's where I am with Buddhism. But here's what I know. Here's what I do know. To borrow from singer-songwriter Mary Gauthier, we can all use a little mercy right now. Every single one of us could use a little mercy right now. Right now. So that's what we're about today. The format is straight ahead. I'll read a passage from one of 3 persons steeped in the Buddhist tradition, and then offer a story or a short reflection. The sources are Buddhist nun Pema Chodron's When Things Fall Apart, hard advice for difficult times. How to be sick, Tony Bernhardt's first-hand guide for the chronically ill and their caregivers. And then the 5 invitations written by Frank Ostaseski, co-founder of a Zen hospice in California. There will be a lot of names I'll struggle with here because, again, we're changing traditions. So let's begin with impermanence, a core teaching across the many expressions of Buddhism from Frank Ostaseski. Our ideas, our fantasies, the physical sensations, we may think of these things as solid things, but they're more like bubbles. They appear for a while, then dissolve. They come, they go, just like us. And just like everything in the universe, we exist, and then we don't. Each life, each occurrence, each feeling, every lovemaking, every breakfast, every atom, every planet, every solar system is fleeting. Every form takes its turn on the wheel. Anna, not her real name, is on my hospital chaplaincy visitation list. She's 95 and completely deaf. We communicate with a whiteboard and erasable marker, and then she responds. And Anna's eyes are dim, her ears no longer function, and yet she's glad to talk. Come to find out, Anna knew my mother, even worked with her for a time. And it tells me my mother once told her, I don't know what to do with that boy. Didn't see that one coming, but there it was. I see Anna twice more. When word comes down that she's being transferred to a care facility, I come to her room just to say goodbye. I write on the whiteboard, it's been so good to meet you. And then, for whatever reason, I say, I hope you feel better. Anna rolls her eyes, no pretense, and then she replies in the very best of Buddha spirit, Don, we have covered this before. I'm 95. My heart's giving out. Every bone in my body aches. I'm not going to get better. I'm ready to go home. That's good enough. Those are exact words. As before, we pray together. Anna doesn't hear me, but that's never been the point for us. I believe we were looking for a connection, knowing full well that we would sooner or later say goodbye. And as I write, Anna is still this side of the great mystery, waiting, eyes and heart open, to take her turn on the wheel. She has no illusions. She has no trapdoors. She has Anna. Now from Tony Bernhardt, How to Live Knowing, as, yes, ex-Beatle George Harrison tried to tell us, all things must pass. So how to live knowing that suffering is self-inflicted? She writes, Tony Bernhardt again, she writes, as we go through life, we repeatedly encounter mental and physical contacts through our senses. By the way, she says Buddhism treats the mind as a sixth sense. She continues, if the experience is pleasant, we want more of it. If the experience is unpleasant, we want it to go away, which is simply another form of desire, the desire for it to go away. She continues, the good news is that we can break this cycle before we reach that place of suffering by becoming mindful right at the moment, before an unpleasant sensation gives rise to the desire that things be different than they are. That's kind of dense. One more time through the last part. The good news is that we can break this cycle before we reach that place of suffering by becoming mindful right at the moment, before an unpleasant sensation gives rise to the desire that things might be different than they are. The late surgeon and author Richard Selzer told more than one story about letting reality be reality, as though reality was just there waiting on us, asking for our permission. Selzer wrote, The young woman suffering from palsy awakes after surgery to find that her face has been horribly scarred and is twitching. She asks her doctor, will she always look like that? The surgeon says that it will, and she nods in silence. Ignoring the presence of the doctor, the young woman's husband stands and says, I like it, and walks to his wife's bedside. And there he twists his mouth in the shape of hers, showing that their kiss still works. Tony Bernhardt is right, you know. We can spend the rest of our short lives wishing away that which hurts just because it hurts, or we can let go. Buddhism is rich with simple yet piercing poetry and slogans about letting go. Before we move on, hear one from the 17th century Japanese poet. Simply, barns burned down, now I can see the moon. Buddha spirit teaches us nobody and nothing are forever. Buddha spirit teaches us that our suffering is our longing for life to be different than it is. And next, the spirit of compassion from Pema Chodron. Compassionate action, being there for others, being able to act and speak in a way that communicates starts with seeing ourselves when we make ourselves right or make ourselves wrong. At that particular point, we could just contemplate the fact that there is a larger alternative to either of those, a more tender, a very shaky kind of place where we could live. In Buddhism, compassion comes of suffering. We know what it is to hurt and to be hurt, to hate and to be hated. We've always looked, but now we see, because we've been desperate too. So we see the desperate. Let me share Frank Ostaseski's account of a very old Buddhist story, the parable of the mustard seed. It's a tale about compassion and how compassion binds us one to the other. Kisa Gotami's 8-year-old son has died suddenly one day, and now she's out of her mind with grief. She picks up her dead son's body, walks through the village, pleading with people to help her, to give her some medication that might help her son. Someone sent her to the place where the Buddha was teaching, and she approached him for help. Please save my son, she begged. Please save my son. The Buddha responded, I can indeed help you, but first you must complete a task. Parentheses, there is always a task in these mythical stories. You must bring to me a single mustard seed. And this mustard seed must come from a home, a family that has not been touched by death. Now, mustard seed was a common household spice at the time. What the Buddha understood was that Kisa Gotami needed to believe, if only for the time being, that her child would live again. She wasn't ready to accept his death. The Buddha had no agenda to take away her denial or refuse any part of her experience. Instead, he skillfully guided her toward the discovery of a powerful truth. Kisa Gotami set out to the village in the hopes of finding the seed. As the story goes, she moved from house to house, but couldn't find a single home that hadn't been touched by death. No one could give her a mustard seed. And now, recognizing that death comes to us all, she was freed from her isolation. And now she could bury her child. And rather than being defeated by the truth, she was consoled by it. Friends, there is so much to be drawn from this parable. For me, it boils down to compassion as our most precious bond. Save for the youngest among us, pain runs through every heart, Is that not enough to make us love? Asked the Buddha spirit. Is that not enough to make us see, not just look? Is it not enough to practice over and over and to fail over and over and yet say, I want some of that Buddha spirit? The person who's ringing up your purchase and pauses to stretch their back, do we see their pain right now? As they stretch, can we pause to ask, are you in pain? Buddha compassion. The person on the corner who was there last week in the rain is in the same place, this time in the snow. Do we see them? Do we find a way to help? Do we practice Buddhist compassion? In the Buddhist tradition, there is a call to see those souls I just mentioned, that's right thinking, and then do what we can, that is right action. The Buddha spirit comes and asks, are we ready to fall in love with one another? Or at least try, and try again, and then try again. And finally, friends, if we hear in Buddhism some strains from our too often neglected universalist heritage, let me start that again. If we hear in Buddhism strains of our too often neglected universalist heritage, that's because they're right there. The universalists told us life will end. They told us all of us will go home to a place where only love is allowed in. In Buddhism and universalism, this is not the easy kind of love. This is not the kind that risks being some form of flattery for flattery's sake. It's not there to please somebody. It's just not. No. The kind of love our universalist forebears were trying to live and spread had nothing to do with the shallow stuff they were believing for their lives. It was, and it is, a clan for broken heart to heart. Universalism is about real life, real embracing, real letting go. And so is Buddhism. Many years ago, I heard the story about Josiah, who was an athlete for life. Josiah was all about physical well-being. His spirituality was tied to moving, and I get that. Over time, Josiah did what we all do. He aged. If we're lucky enough, he aged. And he found out that life was about letting go, but not giving in. Josiah ran marathons until his feet grew tired. Josiah lifted weights until his back grew tired. Josiah learned to bowl until his knees grew tired. Josiah learned to swim until his breath grew tired. Now Josiah plays check and poker. He cheats really well. So thanks for listening, everybody. I hope something here will help you as you go about your own letting go. Oh, and perhaps you'll join us for Christmas Eve.
I again invite you to rise in body, spirit, or voice for our song of parting, Stand By Me. The words are on the insert in your order of service, as is what I found a fascinating brief biography of the author, Charles Albert Tindley.
I'm only going to do verses 1, 3, and 4.
1, 3, and 4.
1, 3, and 4. When the storms of life are raging, stand by me. When the storms of life are raging, stand by me. When the world is tossing me like a ship upon the sea, thou who rulest wind and water, stand by me. In the midst of faults and failures, stand by me. In the midst of faults and failures, stand by me. When I do the best I can, and my friends misunderstand, Thou who knowest all about me, stand by me. In the midst of persecution, stand by me. In the midst of persecution, stand by me. When my foes in battle array, and might take to stop my way, Thou who saved Paul and Silas, stand by me.
We give thanks for the gifts of this hour and prepare our hearts to return to the world that awaits us. We take our leave with a poem adapted from 20th century poet Carl Sandburg. Gather the stars if you wish it so. Gather the songs and keep them. Gather the faces. Gather for keeping years and years. And then, let the stars and songs go. Let the faces and years go. Loosen your hand and say goodbye. Please remain seated for our postlude.
We are singing, this is a sung postlude. It's We Are a Gentle Angry People, the first verse 2 times.
And we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing